Okay, I'm going to have you introduce yourself because you know your name.
I do.
Okay, go right ahead.
Hi, my name is Chris Goodwin. I made On the Seventh Date.
Okay, absolutely. We just screened that film last night. Unfortunately, the filmmaker was unable to make it to his screening, but we are so glad to have him here today. Okay, so the questions we had about your movie, what was your budget for this film?
We shot it for just under $7,000.
Just under 7,000. So it's in the no budget realm.
Yes,
Which is,
it is.
That's what we like here. We like to,
Isn't the taking out your own credit cards and
Yeah.
paying it back?
Yeah. And what was your inspiration? Why did you decide to tell this story?
Well, we made our first feature, the company that me and my buddy made. There's another actor who plays Sean, the lead in the movie, Topher Hansen, and we did our first feature about 2 years ago and kind of learned a lot of what to do and what not to do off of that. And so I kind of wanted to get back into it before I kind of lost momentum. And this story kind of happened, like part of it happened before in some fashion or another in between these two movies, part of the story with me and a woman. So I kind of just built it off that, off of the actors I've met and known in the area that I thought could play. Like I knew my partner would be the lead in it, and I'd get another actor from our first movie to play his ideal version. We had these imaginary versions of these two characters who want to date when it's not going well, and they wish what they would actually be. And I had these people lined up that I thought would work well for it.
Okay. Now, did you write the script also?
I did, yes.
You did. Okay. Now, was this inspired by actual events? Relationships you had?
Yeah, like some of it was. Some of it's like the relationship between him and the girl, like kind of the thing in the end of the movie when they had this like deep discussion in a bathroom, which is not a great place to shoot anything. But I don't know. For some reason, it's very intimate shooting something in a bathroom. Just the fact that you can't get out and you're in a very odd place to have that conversation. But it's also a pain in the ass to shoot because you got to take the door off the wall just to fit everything in there sometimes, and it's based a little bit off real life.
Yeah, I think we can appreciate that. I mean, one of the things I think that played into you did minimal sets to keep within your budget.
Yes, we shot it in my producer's house, his apartment, or he owns the house. We shot out. The only other location we had was a bar, which we got to rent for a day. So that was the only location we had to pay for. It was just paying for that. One of those places is in Massachusetts. There's some bars or restaurants that close on Mondays because it's a slower day. So we just rented it out from noon to 2 in the morning and just shot everything we needed on these bar scenes there. And then everything else was just at this house that we had full control of.
Okay. Is there a big movie scene where you're at? Was it easy to get actors and crew?
Yeah, I mean, I've worked on crew and acting on other movies, so I kind of just pulled in every favor I had. And I wrote parts for people I knew that I knew could do it well or that I've worked with before. So that was kind of the motivation to do it. So if you do it, I'll write you a good part.
All right, yeah, that works. That's a good idea. Let's see. So you said you lucked out on the actors that you found. Do you know that had they been in a lot of things, or did you get people that hadn't acted very much? Or?
Well, I've gotten people like I went to school for writing, but I kind of did more acting around the New England area for the last couple of years, and then decided after working on some things that were just kind of small, but that I thought I could do something at least comparable to that, and then started making my own movies. So me and an actor friend of mine, Topher, who's the lead in the movie, who we run everything together, we pulled in other actors we knew from other stuff that we've worked with before, and then we auditioned and met a couple new people. The main actress in this movie, Anna Rizzo, who plays the lead, I only met her once at an audition. I thought she was amazing. I was just helping read an audition. I wasn't in the movie, or I wasn't making the movie. Just someone asked me to help read for it, and she was awesome. She didn't even get the part in that movie, and I just remembered her. And she worked with the girl who has the British accent in the movie, who was our casting director on the first movie, and she's a really good actress. But she does this British accent that we find hysterical. But
okay.
we don't know if it's actually from anywhere.
So that wasn't a real accent. Okay.
No. That's
yeah.
She would like cast. We would be casting, and she kind of did like a Simon Cowell whenever she didn't like anybody. It was like, oh, this person's horrible, twat waffle, blah blah blah. She would go off on these weird, random tangents. But so we found it funny. We thought the main character, having her ideal being, as she's not like a townie, but she's from where she grew up and kind of swears a lot. So she sees her ideal version as someone who's a little bit more proper, speaks a little bit more regally.
Okay.
More regal.
Because from my viewpoint, it a little bit confused me just because when you see Anna Rizzo, she's so beautiful.
Yeah.
That part of you is like, well, how could she want to be anybody but who she is? She's so fantastic already. But that is actually true to life because women, no matter how wonderful they are, they do want to be somebody else sometimes.
Yeah, and she says it in the movie where she goes like, she calls herself semi-attractive, and he tells her right away, like, yeah, knock it off with that. That's not true. Like, even if she's just saying it or if she really believes it, I've met a lot of people in life who saw like you see them a certain way and they see themselves a certain way.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a version of that where I think both actresses are very attractive, very pretty women, and I don't think that that would be your actual ideal, but a lot of people see themselves what they actually want to be as opposed to what they are, even if what other people see that they are is a positive thing. Your own self-doubt kind of creeps in sometimes.
Yeah.
And she doesn't even play along with it until he starts it up. Like the main character goes in this big thing about it, and she only just plays along just to kind of have fun with him. But then it kind of just escalates from there as they start falling around, become their own entities, and just kind of start, as opposed to just having someone in the bathroom and getting their stuff together, like talking to themselves. They'd have actually a visual representation.
I mean, my favorite scenes is when she's on the phone with the guy that she likes, and he's kind of coaching her.
Yeah.
You know, just sort of the way that works. I would have loved to see even more of that dynamic, you know, in it, because I think that was when you really were hitting the stride of the film. You know, that was really the stuff that was really punching it up as far as humor. So that was the dynamic that I loved the most. Now you went with what I consider to be more of a semi-happy ending. You want to speak to why you chose not to go with what would be more of a traditional romantic comedy ending that the audience might be rooting for?
Well, one of the things that I tried to do as far as the ending goes, which I do, I write a lot of comedic dramas just because I want to write dramas, but being too in your head, you're like, oh, I can't just write drama the whole time. You worry self-doubt, like people won't be interested. And then so my own defense mechanism is to use humor when I feel down or something like that, just to try to deflect it from myself. So it's one of these things where you meet these two characters and it's set up right from the beginning that it's not going anywhere, and the fact they come together over her having an issue, that's what she wanted, and it deviates away from that, but it was always going to end that way, I guess. Mm-hmm. And the point of why at the end of the movie I have the ideals kind of end up is because that even though it didn't work out, it's worth, you only get one shot at this. In theory, you only get one shot at trying. If you really care about somebody, just give it a shot. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work, but at least you know. So it's stuff that even if it didn't work that time, it can work. Like it's worth trying as opposed to even if you fail. Never know it would have been worse.
Yeah, and that's a great thing. I mean, I'm a big romantic comedy person. That's my first film was a romantic comedy. I use comedy in everything. I've actually written PSAs about death, and it has humor in it. Because in order to get the effect of the hard emotions, like, you know, hurt, anger, then you almost have to have the funny to throw off people off balance. You know, balances it out, but it sort of throws them off balance so that the other emotions are more impactful.
Right.
You know, because my heart does break for the guy at the end. Because I think he's great. I think the other guy's a douche. And I'm like, why on earth are you doing this? But that's true. Women do that. They don't go for the guy they should go for.
I mean, guys do it too. Like, guys feel that way too.
Yeah.
But it just sometimes, even where you're at in life, or even, like, the guy could be a nice guy, he's maybe just not ready. I tried to make it where he's not a jerk. Like, usually in a romantic comedy, you have the other guy in the movie is like a huge jerk, and you can tell right away you don't want to end up with him. But I just made it where he kind of does some bad stuff in the beginning, but he's actually cares about it, he just doesn't know what to do.
Yeah.
So I made it where it's possible that he could turn himself around, but he actually has to do it.
Yeah.
Like, they start passing this, like, responsibility, like he says, like, all right, I love you, you have to do something about that. And she makes a decision one way, and then she gives that same decision to the guy that she likes. I'm not just like pussyfooting around anymore. If you want it, yes, but if not, I'm going to move on. So he has to make a decision too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, that was a good thing to do. So anything else you want to share about the movie? Any challenges? Any sort of what you're doing next? Anything else you want to share?
I am broke, so I'm making nothing in the future, as far as I know, as opposed to just accruing more credit card debt. But other than that, just sending this movie out to a couple festivals. We got into about 17 so far, and we're kind of just, whenever I can make it, or anyone from the movie can make it to any of these screenings, try to make it to as many as we can, and just try to promote it that way, hoping that someone would see this movie and maybe we'd be able to make another one. But you never know.
Yeah, the money part's hard.
Yeah,
I know that. Yeah, I mean, did you do DVDs at all?
Not yet. No, we haven't got to that point yet. So we're looking into internet distribution options now. We've talked to a couple people about it, waiting to finish. We finished festivals about in March of next year. So we kind of started in April. We can do it for about a year. We have a couple more still coming up. We have coming up Chicago, Oklahoma, Maine, Jersey City. Massachusetts, couple of ones coming up. So we're just trying to
That-
get it to as many people as possible, and hopefully someone sees it like, oh, do you have any other ideas? And I would say yes. And they go, do you have any money? I would say no.
Well, that's a great festival run. So congratulations on that. I guess we are done. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me.
Okay. All right, you can come in.